Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates.
This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates coming to you live from the crossroads of the West in Lake City, Utah. The time right now is 7:05 p.m.
Very clear on the backside of the sun, and the earth is located in the sun hitting the earth is located around 3.5 miles southeast of the earth now. The solar wind is also
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who's joining us now on the show today. Welcome, guys. As we've been doing for some time, we're going to start off this program with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. Would everybody please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. The host of the Barbershop Quartet Convention gave us the national anthem, the Pledge of Allegiance. God bless our military wherever they might be around this world, and our allied military as well. God bless them, and may they all return home safely to their families after their tours of duty end. God bless them all, and thank you for all of them, Heavenly Father. This is a pleasure for us to thank them. It is also a pleasure for us to serve them once this time. Folks, a lot has happened today. A lot of things have happened today, and I don't hope to cover everything. I am going to cover quite a few of the things that have happened, and I would ask all of you to be patient. I'm going to talk about Cascadia. I'm going to talk about Southern California earthquakes. But there's a lot more. Today, there was a news conference about this. Let me enlarge this picture for you. Sunday, there was an ROV, a remote operated device under the ocean, and 5 people were aboard. Several of those 5 were millionaires, including the person who developed this vehicle, this submersible undersea mini sub. And quite frankly, a lot has happened because of it. I'm not an expert when it comes to these submersible mini subs. I am, however, very knowledgeable when it comes to search and rescue. Today, a news conference was held. Rear Admiral Mercer from the U.S. Coast Guard. He's a 4-star admiral. He conducted that news conference. Now, what I want to talk to you about is the findings from that news conference. Those of you that are here may have seen this news conference. I know there are a lot of people that haven't. That's why we're going to talk about it. Rear Admiral John Mercer told the world today that the debris found at the bottom of the ocean near the Titanic is consistent with the loss of the submersible Titan mini sub. This morning, a remote operated vehicle, an unmanned remote operated vehicle, another submarine that is good up until 6,000 meters deep. This remote vehicle found parts of this Titan submersible craft strewn all over the ocean floor, about 1,600 feet in front of the Titanic's bow. 1,600 feet in front of the Titanic's bow, on unbothered ocean bottom. The submersible carrying the 5 people to the wreckage site of the Titanic went missing Sunday. They were found today. The submersible craft had exploded sometime after the last transmission, radio transmission from the submarine. The craft that had been carrying 5 people was found in a lot of debris. in a very large debris field. The Coast Guard said that the debris field was discovered in the search area near the Titanic, and the information is being evaluated by the experts. The United States Coast Guard notified the missing people's families today, once the remote operated vehicle found the pieces of the submarine strewn about the ocean floor. What we're saying, folks, is this vessel exploded. And right now we don't know the exact reason that the vessel exploded. As of this morning, the missing submersible had a 96-hour oxygen supply when it set out around 6 a.m. Sunday. Officials had previously estimated that the submersible named Titan would run out of breathable oxygen this morning. The Coast Guard and Canadian aircraft and vessels and the United States Navy have been previously involved in this search. The French vessel l'Atalante was also assisting in the search, as well as Canadian Coast Guard and Canadian vessels. Like I said, the debris field is out in front of the bow of the Titanic, 1,600 feet away from the Titanic, on a very smooth ocean bottom. It is consistent with catastrophic explosion of this submersible vessel. The rear cone of the vehicle was missing and found. The front cone of the missing vehicle was also found away from any other debris. This would have rendered this submersible vessel inoperable and also was the beginning of the end for this vehicle. Search and rescue vehicles are in the area, and they will continue to search the area into the near future to document what happened here. The debris field from the submersible was nowhere near the wreckage of the Titanic. It had nothing to do. So far, the search and rescue people have said that this wreckage of the submersible had nothing to do with the Titanic. In other words, the submersible did not ram the Titanic. It did not come in close contact with the Titanic. There are 9 vessels on the scene. Many of these vessels will continue this search area. In time, remote operations will continue until all questions surrounding the investigation of this event have been answered. There still are hundreds of questions to be answered here. No, the bodies were not found, and it's still unsure where the bodies are. Now, they've had these ROVs out all over and near the ocean bottom since Sunday, and they've been hunting for this wreck. These ROVs contain cameras, high-resolution cameras, on board this seagoing vessel, or all of these 6 remote vehicle vessels. And they've only been able to see straight ahead and not side to side. Some submersibles that are remote operated vehicles from the surface with a simple joystick, those remote vehicles can search straight ahead. And like I said, there are 6 of them in or on the ocean floor today, still searching for this vehicle that you see on your screen. The person you see on the screen is a Rear Admiral, a 4-star Admiral from the U.S. Coast Guard. With him today at the news conference, there were other people that were subject matter experts when it came to the submersible vessel that had been lost. They are familiar with searching subsurface, trying to find clues as to sunken vehicles and other people. So these subject matter experts are still on scene, and they will remain on scene until a lot of the answers have been found. But right now there's no answers as to why this submersible blew up under the ocean. It did not blow up anywhere near the Titanic, and that's a good thing. It did not collide with the Titanic. It had nothing to do with that. It's believed to have been blown apart by the high pressures at the bottom of the ocean. Now, one of the things they did clear up was in this environment near the Titanic, it is pitch black. It's called dark area. Dark area. They have to have searchlights on these remote operated vehicles to be able to see anything. And even then, if the bottom of the ocean was anywhere near murky because of a storm, they would not be able to see even in front of their own nose. That's according to the subject matter experts. So right now they have fairly clear seas, and they can go down there and search this area. And they're, like I said, they're going to be there for some time. Do we have any questions from anyone about this? I know there are probably quite a few questions still. Does anybody have any questions about this? Twirly Cashew, they said they found debris, so why did they not hear it on underwater speakers? Those underwater microphones heard very little. From what I can understand right now, the sonar signals that were heard were pinging signals, which could have been signals from the vehicles that were in the area, operating in the area. At one time yesterday, they thought that maybe, just maybe, someone was tapping on the hull of this vehicle from the inside. But today, with the latest findings, said the vehicle had exploded. They are looking for the other debris. A question was asked, are they going to be able to bring up the bodies? That is not known at this time. If this craft that they're looking for people in, if the people are still in that craft and it has sunk with water in it, they may not be able to get it. However, if they ran out of air, there's no water in the vehicle, there are cranes that can attach to ships, and they can bring the vehicle up within 30 minutes to an hour. But right now they don't even know if anybody's still alive in the vehicle. It's very doubtful because the oxygen supply in the vehicle would have run out this morning. Okay? So that's pretty bad. Carolyn Martin says the sounds may have been from the current moving bits of the Titanic or other noise around the ocean. The ocean's not silent. Carolyn Martin is right. The ocean's not silent, and with the other vehicles around, it could be a crew member working inside an engine room of one of the vehicles there's on the surface looking around. It could have been almost anything. They don't know. Richard Smith says Ocean Gate has a gas submersible called Cyclops too. Yes, I heard about that. Heard about that some time ago. May Edwards says that she heard that it imploded. The latest we heard, it did not implode, but exploded. Implode would be an explosion from the inside, and basically the steel of the surrounding of the vessel would collapse in on itself. That would be an implosion. They don't believe that's what happened. They say right now that it exploded out in the water column. Yes, imploding crushes everything, including bodies. Any other questions? Linda Covington says, need prayers for all aboard. Haters need not be critical. I agree. We don't need to be critical right now. As of this moment, it is believed that these crew members are all deceased, all 5 of them. It would be very lucky if anybody was alive still some 5 days later, after oxygen ran out earlier today. Richard Smith says lithium batteries, it could have been. I don't know. Nobody has any of that information right now, and I'm sure in the coming days and weeks and possibly months we may get some answers, but then again we might not. Rob says they want their bodies. I agree. If I was a family member and one of my family members was down there, yes, I would like the body to be returned. That remains to be seen what happened. Down at that depth where this submarine was, where the Titanic is, there's great pressures that are applied by the water. The water pressures themselves would make that submarine collapse unless it was built very well. Okay? Rose Fiddler says this won't go away easy because they were all millionaires' children or husband and family. Yes, you're right. These people were millionaire, billionaire types. So no, I don't think this is going away anytime soon. So that's what's going on there. It's been a hard day for a lot of people. I spent about 4 hours looking at this whole thing all day long. And then when the news conference happened, I was not warned, but I was told that the news conference was anywhere from 30 minutes to 10 minutes away. And so I hurriedly connected to the news conference. And I heard just about as much as any of you. It's a sad day. Crampelat said, I heard of an employee that had been warned of defects in seaworthiness of the vehicle and the person would have been fired. That's possible. That does happen. Especially if anybody questions some part of it or some part of the program, then those people are let go. Happens all the time, unfortunately. Rose Fiddler says, hello to everyone. Do we call this disaster of the year? It might very well be. Losing anyone is a tragedy. Losing 5 people, it's very much a tragedy. That's one of the reasons that I came on the air to talk about it. Now, I'm a disaster expert. At least that's what they tell me. I'm a subject matter expert. I try my best, but I don't even have all the answers, and I've been following this since it first started happening on Sunday. Matt Martin says an explosion is better than running out of oxygen, right? Well, considering what might happen from an explosion and running out of oxygen, oxygen would be starving from your body. Your entire body would be in a lot of pain trying to grasp for oxygen, trying to get a little even breath of oxygen. That would be very, very painful. If this vessel exploded like they said it did, that would have been extremely painful, but the cause of death would be immediate. The crew may or may not have felt anything because of the extreme water pressures at that depth in the ocean. So I don't know whether it would be better or not. I even hesitate to even think about it. Carolyn Martin says we know more about the moon than we do our own oceans. You're right. We've had several astronauts turned argonauts, in other words, ocean explorers, trying to find out more about our oceans. And I hope to shout that we don't stop learning more about our own planet. That's what I hope will happen. But I also hope that safety measures will be heavily looked at so as not to allow this kind of thing to happen again. Charlie says they probably didn't even feel a thing. I hope not. I certainly hope not. We can't anticipate everything. Okay? No one can anticipate everything. It's almost impossible. I wake up every morning with a goal on my mind to get this and that done, and to find out more information about this and that. But even that, even if I write it down, sometimes answers are not there. And we have to accept what we have, which sometimes is nothing. It's a really sad thing. Linda Covington says, lessons are learned, chalk it up to knowledge gained. I agree. But in this case, it's going to be a long period of time before that knowledge is fully out there. I have a hard time with it. Carolyn Martin says, I bet there were waivers signed to prevent litigation. I bet you're right. I really think you're right. I would hate to think otherwise. Because even I have been in situations where I have had to share or had to sign what they call NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. Non-disclosure agreements. I've had to sign them when I was with the government. Before I even could work for the government, they had me sign these non-disclosure agreements. I wouldn't talk about this, that, or the other thing. B. Coles is the CEO of the submersible company who owned the vehicle, was also on board. You're right, he was. It's just a tragedy all around. It's very much a tragedy, and it's sad. Now there's something else I want to talk about. Okay? Carolyn Martin is an expert when it comes to this. She lives near where this happened. Carolyn Martin lives just north of Denver. This happened over in the southwestern area of Denver called Morrison. This is an area where a concert was being held last night. It's called the Red Rocks Amphitheater. Red Rocks Amphitheater had baseball-sized hail, as had other places around Denver. Baseball-sized hail. But folks, it's not just that, there's more. Let me show you something else. There was also a tornado found on the ground in the plains area of Colorado. Out on the prairie of Colorado. Unreal, guys. Unreal. When we see these events happen, and I've seen many a tornado in my day, either live or on Memorex. But when I've seen these, it brings chills to my very soul. Because I know property is being destroyed. People may be getting injured or killed. Our earth is a very strange place. We don't often get answers to questions on why things happen. Just in the past 24 hours, I've had several people that are part of this EMA family that have contacted me. What about this weather, Ron? What do you think about the weather? Is it being modified? Or is this just something we have to be getting used to now that the weather has changed? Yes, the weather has changed. I believe there has been weather modification. We talked about that company, the agency that our government has that has been experimenting about weather modification for many, many years. A lot of years. This company right here. And yes, folks, excuse me that I use Post-it notes, but they're some of my favorite things to use. This agency right here that operates here in the United States and at least one place up in Alaska. They started this organization for the prime example to try to manipulate weather and to find out what makes weather work, what happens. But they have found that they can control weather. They can manipulate the weather so it will cause unheard of damage and destroy buildings and destroy lives. They know that. One of my associates, I can't say associates of mine necessarily, but a gentleman that I know of has done a little bit of research into that, and every time we have one of these monster storms come up, the storm center navigates closer and closer to where the radars are. By radars, I'm talking about the National Weather Service radars. Storms, guys, are almost a living, breathing being. A living, breathing being. No, they're not human. Not at all. They have electrical functions within the storm itself. And they are drawn to these weather radar areas, to the machines out near the airports and such. That electricity that's involved with weather radar has actually been known to be a magnet for the storms. And as the storms are drawn to that radar facility, they become stronger and more angrier. Okay? That's as far as I know about it. Because even the people I've talked to don't want to get into talking about it. It's like they are afraid to divulge any secrets, divulge any information. And if you're anybody like me, I'm very inquisitive about how things work. I'm very information oriented. I want to know why. If any of you knew my parents, some of you may have, those of you that knew my parents and my family know that I'm very inquisitive. When I was a kid, with household products, I made things go boom. With household products, I made my parents' basement a mess. Okay? I'm just saying. And yes, my brother and I ended up having to clean up our messes. But we were all very inquisitive on what made what work and why. And we made a lot of messes. Okay? But weather modification is something that's being done and has been done for probably 40, maybe even 50 years. As man has got more knowledge about the weather, certainly they have gone and tried to develop ways to harness the weather to our advantage. Some scientists have dropped particles into clouds to make it rain. That has worked. But at what end? some of those particles have been known to contaminate our soil and get into our water supply. Even though at the time they said they were safe, but they weren't. This is typical of what we see from some of these scientists. Oh, this is safe, but he's laughing out of the other side of his mouth. It's not really safe. Nothing's really safe. Linda Covington is talking about Schumann resonance. Yes, folks, the Schumann resonance is almost off scale. I have a video that I'm not going to play tonight that talks about, this woman talks about the Schumann resonance and what's going on. The Schumann resonance basically is looking at energy. The Schumann resonance looks at energy particles and such. And it can tell you whether that energy is good or whether it's overpowering us and hurting us. And yes, it is doing both. One of these days I may even put together a program on just the Schumann resonance so everybody can get an idea of what it really is about and understand it. Me, I'm just barely into this. I started really looking into Schumann resonance about a year ago. And that's when most of the people I know have found out any information about it, is over the last year or so. The Schumann resonance comes out of Russia. The Schumann resonance itself comes out of Russia. It's a bar graph showing energy. The Russians developed it. But the problem with that is that maybe, just maybe, this is information that we could use to help protect ourselves. But I am, on the same token, I'm thinking maybe they're showing us this energy that really isn't good. And they really didn't mean for us to find out about it. And the reason I say that, as of late, it's become very hard sometimes to keep up with it, because they have taken it down to a great measure even during this past week. But Schumann resonance plays into this. Electromagnetic frequency radiation. Electromagnetic frequency radiation. That in and of itself plays into a lot, including earthquakes. Earthquakes. But here in Red Rocks, I've been to Red Rocks Amphitheater that you're seeing right here. I've been there. I was there for at least 2 concerts, and I was there just hanging around. As you can see here, you can't actually see the stairs here. This is a huge amphitheater, and the stairs are built up going up a hill. I think there's 100 and some stairs or sitting places. It's not chairs, it's concrete sitting places. I think there's about 100 levels. And you can maybe fit around 100 people on each level. That's huge. And during the day, people jog up and down these stairs of the Red Rock Amphitheater. The amphitheater is great for concerts. I have even listened to concerts nearby, from nearby the amphitheater. You can't help but not hear it. Up on top, outside of the amphitheater itself, if you're able to hike to the top of that hill, you can hear a great concert. It's unreal. But here, a lot of damage from hail. Baseball-sized hail. And where we have hail, we also have tornadoes. And that's basically what happened. Our friend Reed Trimmer is out in Colorado today looking at tornadoes. He's a storm chaser. We have several other people part of the EMA family that go out and storm chase. And as we get more information from them, I will even put them on the air. So Nathan, consider that. One of them is a man named Nathan here on this channel. I really like the guy. He's a neat guy. Anyway, guys, James Brecka just gave us a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, James. We appreciate it. He says, don't spend it all in one place. I agree. Anymore, that's exactly what happens. We spend it one place. Just for kicks and giggles, the other day I was joking with somebody about the prices of everything. We were talking about candy. Back in the day when I was a kid, we could have a piece of candy for a penny. We could get a baby finger. We could get one of those baby finger candies, a candy bar, for 5 cents. A piece of licorice for 5 cents. One tiny piece of candy for a penny. Unreal. Unreal. For a quarter, which is like 5 pop bottles that we used to cash in to get our money, we used to go over to this McMonigal's store, which was a private individual store, to buy candy from Mr. McMonigal, and each level shelf in his store, the bottoms were pennies. The next level was nickels. The next one was 10 cents, and so on and so on and so on. You could buy a penny piece of candy, or a nickel piece of candy, or a 25 cents, you could have a whole mess of candy. Not anymore. That baby finger candy that we used to get for a nickel or whatever it was, a dime, now you can't touch it for less than $1. Crazy how price changes. So no, I will try not to spend that $5 super chat on candy. We appreciate everybody who gives us donations here on the super chat. Several of you have in the past put up challenges for $5 super chats, and it got away from us, and we end up making a bit of money, which is a great thing to pay for this bandwidth that we have to pay for to do these programs. Anyway, I'm going to get off my little horse here and talk about earthquakes. We had some 5.0 earthquakes down in Tonga and Fiji today. A bunch of them. Let's go down and use the USGS map really quick, and then we'll go into Southern California. I want to show you what's going on in Southern Cal. These earthquakes that we're seeing are only small. We've seen very strong 6.0s to 6.9 magnitude earthquakes. Those are called very strong earthquakes. We've also seen 7.0s, 8.0s, and 9.0 earthquakes. And we're hopefully going to not see any more, but given that I myself have seen 3 since I've been doing this program, it wouldn't surprise me we're going to see 9.0s and even 10.0s coming very soon. We've seen it. Down here in the South Pacific, this is north of the Kermadec Islands, north of New Zealand. This in and of itself is a 5.1 earthquake, the lower end of a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. That's very strong. It's only 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. Now, I'm going to enlarge this a bit so you can see what I'm saying here. Okay? We had another earthquake hit. This earthquake is a 5.0. USGS downgraded to a 4.9. It's a 5.0 earthquake. Okay? This was an aftershock. That was an aftershock of another earthquake. It was a 5.2 earthquake. So we had this 5.2 earthquake earlier today, about 3:36 this morning. Then we had this 4.9, 5.0 earthquake just about 20 minutes later. Then we had this other 4.9 here. This was actually a foreshock of those two other earthquakes. So this earthquake hit at about 1:49 a.m. Then the 5.2 hit. This one's at 3:36 this morning. Then this other 4.9, 5.0 hit. This hit at 10:51 a.m. this morning. Crazy, huh? Then we go all the way down here to the Kermadec Island region, and we have this 5.1 hit today. This hit this afternoon at 3:33 this afternoon. We had this one here. This was in the Tongan region. This is a 5.0 earthquake. This earthquake hit at 1:30 this afternoon, after all these other earthquakes had hit. All these earthquakes did not hit anywhere near land. Even that earthquake over here just north of the Kermadec Islands didn't hit near anyone even close to land. The Pacific Ocean absorbed the shock waves of these earthquakes. No one was hurt. Over here in Luganville, Vanuatu, this is a 4.6 moderate earthquake. 29 miles east of Luganville, Vanuatu. Now I'm blowing this up so you can see it. This hit in the waters off one of the islands there in Vanuatu. Nobody felt that either. Moderate earthquake over in the water. Ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of that quake. Then we go further west. This is near Honoraria, Solomon Islands. 73 miles east-southeast of the islands. Nobody felt this one either. It was a 4.8. A 4.8 quake. Over here near Myanmar. This is another 5.0 earthquake. USGS downgraded it to a 4.9. It's a 5.0 earthquake, and folks, it's on the actual earthquake fault. It's on the earthquake fault. You can see the earthquake fault just north of where this earthquake hit. It's on the fault zone. Okay? Then we go further northeast. This is Taiwan. This is a moderate 4.4 earthquake just over here off the coast of Taiwan. 4.4 hit at 4:05 this morning. This one is 11.8 miles deep, about 15 kilometers deep. Nobody felt that one either. Just a moderate quake. Then we go over into the Kuril Islands. the Kuril Islands here. This is a 5.1 near Okinawa, in the middle of the ocean. Nobody felt this either. This one in Taiwan was just barely on the outskirts of land. This one in Okinawa here, guys, large earthquake near Okinawa, hit right there. Hit right there. It says it's 1 mile northeast of Okinawa. Guess what, guys? Look where it hit. Right smack dab in the middle of a population center. People here felt that. Large 5.1 earthquake hits here in Okinawa, Japan. They may see some damage from that 5.1. Couldn't find it today, though. Nobody's talking about it. So when we go up here into the northern Pacific here, okay, again, this particular earthquake I just highlighted in blue here is just a 4.0. This is 193 miles from land. A 4.0. Further north here, this is a 4.6. 4.6 here. Off the coast of Japan. This earthquake here is a 4.3. Right between two land masses here. Hokkaido, Japan to the north, and Honshu, Japan to the south. This is also a 4.3 magnitude earthquake, moderate earthquake. Nobody felt that. The ocean waters absorbed this earthquake. But to the north of there, this one hit Hokkaido. We already had a very large earthquake hit Hokkaido just a few days ago. Look where this one hit. It hit on land. It hit right next to a population center. Look at that. Hit right next to a huge population center. And this was a moderate earthquake, a moderate 4.6. It can cause dishes to break, but more than anything, open cabinets. Shake anything loudly. Books and knickknacks fall off the shelves. This has potential to do moderate damage, nothing major. Okay? Hokkaido, Japan. I was hoping one day to go to Hokkaido myself. I understand it's a beautiful country. Yesterday we had a 5.0 up here, just off the coast of Kamchatka Peninsula, right next to the Aleutian Island fault zone here. The Aleutian Islands here. This earthquake hit in the Rat Islands today. This is a 3.1 and a 4.5 hit here yesterday. Okay? As you can see, there's some tiny earthquakes that have been felt. Okay? How are they felt? This one, folks, was felt by some scientists that were looking at this volcano. Scientists on this little island exploring this volcano. Okay? Then we continue east in the Aleutian Island chain. Here we have a 1.8 minor tremor. Minor tremor. Right next to it, just east, is a 2.7 earthquake. Minor earthquake. Near Nikolsky, Alaska. We're working our way up to the east on the Aleutian Island Fault. This one's a 1.9. Nowhere near land. Over here, this is nowhere near land either. This is a 2.2 near Perryville, Alaska. Where have we heard Perryville? Where have we heard of Perryville before? Folks, just barely north of this earthquake is where we had an 8.7 earthquake about a year and a half ago. An 8.7, guys. And they tried to say it didn't happen. But again, we found it. We spoke before they could say anything. As it turns out, we were right. We were right. And as you can see, as we get closer to Anchorage here, in the Cook Strait here, look what happens. We get a bunch of tremors, don't we? All over this area. Tremors near here. This is near a volcano. This is Mount Redoubt. Or not Mount Redoubt, I'm sorry, got ahead of myself. This is the old Ililama volcano. Old Ililama volcano. And it's been steaming and it's been shaking. It's going to continue to shake. Okay? Then we get up north here. Wonderful thing. What do we have here? This is, they say, 16 miles west-northwest of Petersville. Guys, can you say Denali National Park? Yeah, that's where this is, the southeastern part of Denali National Park. This earthquake, again, they're trying to reference Petersville again. This is a 1.4 in Denali National Park. Denali National Park. This one is just south of the park. This is a 1.8 near Valdese, Alaska. Valdese, Alaska. A lot of things have happened here. We go north here, north and west. Susitna, Alaska, a 3.7. A 3.7. Crazy. Crazy. Look at these earthquakes up north. This is central Alaska, just south of the Alaska border up here, on the north shore of Alaska. This one is a 1.3 tremor. Yay for them for a tremor. Tremors are not felt. It's just earth movement. There can be larger tremors, yes, but a 1.1, that's just a small one. We have earth movement here in Alaska. Whether it's tremor movement or full-blown earthquake movement, we have movement here in Alaska. That's going to continue. It's not going to stop. A lot of things are happening. Over here in western Alaska near Chugnuck, Alaska. By the way, guys, now we're talking a volcano here. Chugnuck, Alaska. This is 0.9 microquake. 1.1 tremor. This is also 1.1. Chugnuck, Alaska. Folks, just east of here we have a volcano. A volcano. Yes, this could be related to that volcano even. 161 volcanoes here in Alaska. 161. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. We talked a lot about Hawaii. Kilauea volcano here in Hawaii is erupting. And it's doing a good job. It's shaking things down. Has people worried about it a little bit. The majority of the earthquakes, however, were over here south of the big volcano, Kilauea, Hawaii Mau crater. Folks, this is Pahala. Pahala is the distribution center for magma to the various volcanoes around the island. Pahala, folks. And as you can see, they have plenty of earthquakes here. Okay? For example, this one is a 2.1 minor earthquake. This is a 1.9. Right beside it is another 2.0. And right next to that, we have a 2.1. Actually, it's a 2.2. But this is, can't even talk. This is the distribution center for magma. There's a huge magma plume coming from the deep South Pacific. The very deep South Pacific. Okay? Way down here where you got a name, way down here in the South Pacific. And the magma is feeding all the volcanoes all around the globe. So everywhere we see a volcano, you know that magma is going to all of them. Most of them are all getting ready to go. Okay? But this magma plume comes up here to the Big Island. And when it comes up here, guys, what happens? It comes up here to Pahala, they start to have different tunnels going to the various volcanoes. One of those tunnels from Pahala just happens to be Kilauea. Another one is almost directly north of Pahala. That, folks, is a volcano that is testing the volcano people to a great deal. It's called Mauna Loa. Mauna Loa erupted earlier this year, just a couple months ago. Not a big eruption, but it scared a lot of people. North of there, just north of Mauna Loa, is another volcano right here. It's called Mauna Kea. Both Mauna Loa to the south and Mauna Kea have a lot of large earthquakes as of now. They're both getting ready to erupt again. Okay? That's one reason for all these earthquakes. But there's also another volcano over here. Right over in this area here. This is called Hualalai. This volcano is called Hualalai. And it's having a lot of earthquakes as well. It remains to be seen whether it's going to erupt or not, but it has in the past. But that's Hawaii, guys. That's Hawaii. There are other earthquakes hitting here in Southern California. On Sunday right here, over in the mouth of the Gulf of California, we had two 6.4 earthquakes, and we had two 6.6 earthquakes right next to each other on the San Andreas Fault here. Folks, this area where these earthquakes hit, seismic energy travels north. We've also seen some 4s here recently, right about here. All this energy is traveling north into northern Mexico and Southern California. Southern California. USGS is showing no earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley. Really? They're not showing anything at all. They're showing this one. They call this a quarry blast, and it very may well be a quarry blast. This is way out here east of the Imperial Valley, over here near this quarry. This is a 1.4 microquake. Actually, it's not really a microquake. It is a quarry blast. This is near the surface. This is right near the surface. So yes, this is a quarry blast. 1.4 tremor caused by a quarry blast. Dynamite. Dynamite. But again, why are we not seeing earthquakes over here around the Salton Sea? Why are we not seeing it? This area right here to the west of the Salton Sea is called Salton City. And they're not showing anything here. Interesting. Right over here, this is called Elmore, California. They're not showing anything here either. Why am I showing it to you? Because I have seismograms from these areas that says there's plenty of earthquakes hitting here and tremors. Just south of the Salton Sea, here is Westmoreland. Westmoreland is showing earthquakes here. Interesting, huh? Guess what? Right here, this is the town of Imperial, California. Imperial's been having earthquakes here as well. I'm going to show you those as well. Then we can go out here to El Centro Naval Air Station, right there. We don't see any earthquakes being shown by the U.S. Geological Survey, do we? None being shown here. But guess what, guys? El Centro Naval Air Station's had plenty of earthquakes. Not just tremors, but earthquakes. And they're not minor earthquakes either. Interesting, huh? Oh yeah. I think big time interesting. Okay? This town right here, this is Holtville. The town is called Holtville. They have about a population of about 20,000 people now. Holtville is home to the Salton Sea Desert Research Station. There are earthquakes shown on that seismogram as well. Holtville has earthquakes. Yeah, they do. Then over here, this area is called Calipatria and Nyland, California. Guess what, folks? There are earthquakes here as well. We're going to show you those earthquakes. We're going to show you a lot of earthquakes. A lot of earthquakes. I want to show you this. This is the Redlands. 0.8 microquake. This is Loma Linda, California. Loma Linda, California. We're showing a 0.9 here. I'm actually excited that it's just a 0.9. Because right here is Loma Linda Medical Center. Loma Linda Medical Center. One of the largest medical centers in the United States. And yet we have a microquake just south of there. And south of there, We have a place called Miraloma. Miraloma has got its own quakes and tremors as well here. I'm going to show you a lot of stuff happening here as well. We're going to go into Los Angeles. We're going to go into Los Angeles. Right here, they're saying this is Home Gardens. Home Gardens, southeast of Home Gardens. Another quarry blast. Well, I'll be darned. Another quarry blast. A 1.5 tremor quarry blast. That's interesting because guess what? Sorry folks. Sorry USGS. No quarry here. A 1.5 tremor, not a quarry blast. South there, down here. Down here. They're calling this a 1.5 quarry blast as well. Well, just a few miles away, we do have a quarry. That's interesting. Could they actually be digging another quarry up here? It's doubtful. It's doubtful. There's a lot of other things going on here, but it's not a quarry. 1.5 tremor. South of Los Angeles. This is Corona, California. A 1.1 tremor here. Woohoo! Woohoo! This is a 0.7 microquake. This is a town called, well actually, before I tell you what it is, this is a town made famous by former late President Richard Milhous Nixon. Richard M. Nixon was born here in Yorba Linda, California. Yorba Linda. Yorba Linda. I'm not a crook. A 0.7 tremor there in Yorba Linda, California. Anyway, guys, that's what we got to show you here in Los Angeles. But again, where are the earthquakes here? What's going on here? Why are they not showing what is going on here? Inquiring minds want to know, don't they? Oh, you better believe it. What is this, guys? What is this I'm showing you now? Does anybody know what this is? This is the Baldwin Hills. These are the Baldwin Hills. All we have here are oil and gas producing wells. Pumps and jacks over all of these plots that they've bulldozed here. This used to be the hills. Roving hills all over here. They bulldozed it. They put in pumps and jacks, and it's been pumping out oil and gas for decades now. A lot of decades. I'm going to show you seismic energy here as well. The good old Baldwin Hills. But they're not showing us much of anything, are they? Because they don't want us to know what the heck is going on. Interesting that they don't want us to know what is actually going on. Well, folks, we're going to show you what's going on in Southern California. Right here, right now. When I lived in San Diego, there was a television news station called Channel 8, KFMB television. I used to work for the radio side, KFMB AM and FM radio, in San Diego. I was not a disc jockey. I was just part of the Hudson and Bauer Singers. Part of the Hudson and Bauer Singers. And some of you have talked to me about Hutto and Bowsy. Okay? Hutto and Bowsy here. Hudson and Bauer, as their names are called. They were affectionately called Hutto and Bowsy. Laura Marie here. Laura Marie is from Oregon. She used to pal around with us over in Poway, California. Her parents didn't live that far from where I used to live in Poway, California. So, Laura Marie, hello. So glad you're here. Laura Marie says Pahala. It's Kawa High School in Pahala Elementary School. K-A with a little ching over between the A and the U, which probably means cow. K-A-U High School and Pahala Elementary School over there in Hawaii. Wonderful thing. Richard Smith says trees. Never turn your back on a tree. They will get you, especially if you're right underneath a tree during a lightning storm. Don't do that. Don't do that. Nathan Hester, he's one of our wonderful storm chasers. Nathan's here in the chat. Yay. Laura Marie says, I wouldn't want to be in Los Angeles during earthquakes. Laura Marie, I would have loved to have had you over with me in Northridge investigating all the quakes and helping people there in Northridge after that huge earthquake. That would have been a blast. Partners in crime in Los Angeles, that would have been. Yet I had a partner in crime named Nick, and we had a blast. Yeah, we had a blast helping people after the Northridge quake here. Anyway, guys, I want to show you what's happening over there in the Baldwin Hills. Look at this. This is a seismogram taken from the Baldwin Hills. Now, folks, this is just a little bit larger activity than we've seen previously here in the Baldwin Hills. These are just tremors. Constant, consistent tremor activity in the Baldwin Hills. It should be said that there are drill points there in the the Baldwin Hills. Every one of those drill points where they drilled for oil is a man-made earthquake fault here in the Baldwin Hills. So it's not surprising that we'd see this many tremors constantly going over in the Baldwin Hills area. They have had earthquakes here as well. Good-sized earthquake that shook the place. That's a Baldwin Hills oil plantation. I'm going to call them a plantation. Go figure. Go figure. The Cyberistic gal says, hey, what's my chances in 68 miles from the Gulf of Mexico? Or should I ask, should I have gone months ago? If you live anywhere near the Gulf of Mexico, you're going to feel an earthquake, and it's coming. If you haven't felt any earthquakes by now, you will, but it might not be good. Anywhere over there in the central United States near the Gulf Coast, we're talking southeastern Texas, southeast side of Texas, north to south, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, and southeastern Oklahoma. Look out. Look out. A large earthquake's coming your way. We talked about that before. Laura Marie says the Baldwin Hills looks like an ad form. Oh yeah, it sure does, doesn't it? That's the first thing I saw 2 or 3 years ago when I was looking at these things. My gosh, it looks like an ad form. It sure does. Cyberistic gal says, heard a lot of popping, I get dizzy. What you're having there, and I explained this last night, what you're having there are minor tremors, minor earthquakes, and larger 3.0, 4.0, 4.5 earthquakes. So you're starting off with minor tremors going up to moderate earthquakes. So yeah, you're feeling a lot of energy. You're feeling a lot of earthquakes. It's going to get a lot worse. It's going to get a lot worse. Just like it's going to get a lot worse here in Los Angeles that we're talking about tonight. It's going to be very much worse. Baldwin Hills, guys. The Baldwin Hills. I just love the Baldwin Hills. Let's go over to... I want to stay in Los Angeles, but this time I want to go over to the ocean side of the city. I want to look at the Channel Islands. We've been seeing a lot of activity over in the Channel Islands here. Guess what? The activity continues to grow at the Channel Islands. Why? They have their own share of earthquake faults out there in the harbor, in the coastal waters off of Los Angeles. This is proof positive of it. What you're seeing here in the Channel Islands are full-blown tremors. Full-blown tremors. 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. It's preparing to go to 2.0. Pretty soon we're going to see minor earthquakes over here in the Channel Islands, and then full-blown earthquakes. 3.5 to 5.5 earthquakes here in the ocean just off the coast of Los Angeles. It's coming, guys. I promise you, it's coming. Camarillo, California, look at this. Every once in a while we'll show you Camarillo when there's something to show. Camarillo is getting nothing but tremors now. We used to show 2 or 3 tremors a day here at Camarillo. Now look at all these tremors. It's just not the big ones, it's small ones as well. No one is going to feel these small ones, except these small ones are leading to larger earthquakes. That's why I want to show it to you. Camarillo, you're going to get hit, along with everybody else. Camarillo is basically a bedroom community. A lot of people living there. A lot. A ton. A ton. I want to go over to Del Amo, Los Angeles area. Look at this. Del Amo used to be a fairly quiet place with lots of tremors. Now Del Amo has got to the point, I believe they now have graduated to 2.0 earthquakes. Look at all the tremor activity here. Yes, 90% of this is nothing but tremors. But I think throughout this whole seismogram, I can almost bet we'd find a 2.0 earthquake, maybe 2 or 3. But this is very relevant because it's happening and it's not stopping. This is complete, consistent earthquake activity. It doesn't slow down, it doesn't stop. Okay? Del Amo, Los Angeles area. Let's go take a look at Ellis, California, guys. Look at this. Ellis, California's had a lot of seismic activity. It seems to be ramping up now. A year or so ago, all we were seeing is minor tremors. Literally tremors. Tiny tremors. Now we're seeing a lot more of it. Okay? We're seeing a lot more. Some of these may even be 2.0 earthquakes. Some of the larger signatures here can be 2.0 earthquakes. Okay? This seismogram at the top is 5 a.m. So on the left-hand side, you can go count it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 o'clock on the black line here. 4 o'clock, all you're seeing is red over the black. That's because at 3:15, all heck was breaking loose in this area here. Bunch of tremors. Then we can kick it over about 10 minutes. In the red, on the red line here, the same red line, that might be 2.0 earthquakes. If not, it's 1.9. Okay? It's almost inundating any of the white paper beneath it. Okay? It's moving. Ellis is moving. I kid you not, guys. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it. Laguna Bell. Laguna Bell. Michel, my belle, sonde mon yvonne, très bien au sol, très bien au sol. No, I don't sing that song. I don't remember any of the other words. But look at this, Laguna Bell. There's nothing here but tremors. Constant tremor activity at Laguna Bell. This is along the coast of Los Angeles. Laguna Bell. Let's continue. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. Let's go look at, what should we look at now? Let's go look at Los Alamos. Look at Los Alamos. These are nothing but tremors. You can see them now. Used to be little dots. There are no more little dots here. These are all tremor activity. I don't see anything progressing to earthquake activity here. It's coming. Okay? It's coming. Alamos County Park, Los Angeles. Let's keep moving here. I want to show you another place here. I want to show you the Emergency Operations Center in downtown Los Angeles. This is the EOC. In the past, folks, you might see jumbled up tremors. Nothing but tremors here at the EOC in Los Angeles, downtown LA. Look at this. This is nothing but gobbledygook. That's why I'm showing it to you. This is what they call abstract. It's trash. Doesn't make much sense at all. But it's all over the place. This is trash. This is not telling you anything. Yes, there are tremors in Los Angeles, even over at the Federal Building. But because I saw this, I wanted you to see it. Just garbage. Garbage. Let's continue on. There's another place I want to show you. This is Light Hype. This is just east of Long Beach. Look at this, guys. This isn't just tremors. This is 2.0 earthquakes. Over and over, back to back to back, over again and again. Okay? Why do I say it's earthquakes? Look at the bottom. Look especially at the bottom. At the top of this seismogram, you can also see some earthquakes. Why? Because that black line is over on the left-hand side, for example, you're seeing it go all the way off paper. When those tremors turn into earthquakes, they go off the paper. 2.0 earthquakes, 2.0, 2.2 earthquakes. And yes, that's exactly what we're seeing here, even on the bottom line. We're seeing them. Minor earthquakes over here near Long Beach. Long Beach, California. Guess what? I've got something else to say about Long Beach. I bet you guys can read my mind. I bet you guys can read my mind. This is State Street, guys. State Street, near Long Beach. Not that far from the seismograph that's printing up the light hype seismogram. Look at this one. This is tremors and earthquakes. Tremors and earthquakes, completely obliterating out any white paper beneath it. Folks, that's a lot of tremors and earthquakes. Look at that. This is what's happening every day there. Look at the bottom and look at the top. When you see these lines going off paper, those are probably 2.2 to 2.4 earthquakes. Minor earthquakes. When you just barely see them going off paper, those are 2.0 earthquakes. We have a lot at the top and the bottom calling this an earthquake. Long Beach area, guys, this is what's going on. At the bottom, guys, those are 2.0 to 3.0 earthquakes, depending on where we see this person's pants. Okay? When we see someone living in this area and they're having a hard time walking, I would be. 3.0 earthquakes, these are small earthquakes. 3.5 are not, they're still small, but they're feltable earthquakes. And they actually make you sway back and forth. They can make you nauseous and dizzy. So you can't stand up. That's what's happening all over Los Angeles, guys. All over LA. And that was yesterday. That was yesterday, guys. Let me show you State Street this evening. Look at that. Lots and lots of earthquakes. That's today, guys. No joke. No joke. It's going, guys. It's definitely going. I want to show you something else. Let's go out to the desert area. How would you like to go to Barstow? This is Barstow, guys. In the past, you would have been hard-pressed to see any upper lines here. Upper lines mean thicker lines. Okay? Now you're seeing them every day. Every day. Look at these. These are tremors. Tremors on the San Andreas Fault down here. This is north of Los Angeles. Okay? That was Barstow. Have any of you been in Bakersfield this last while? Has anyone been in Bakersfield? This is Bakersfield yesterday. Look at these tremors out in Bakersfield again. This is the San Andreas Fault out here. It's moving. It's really moving. Those white areas on the seismogram, those are areas when the line is turned off. The information is turned off here. Why did they turn the seismograph off? Because they had some bigger earthquakes? It's possible. But you can see the tremors hitting here all over the place, all the time. All the time. Okay? How about Bakersfield today? They didn't do anything to this seismogram here. They left it alone. Here we have some 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes. Minor earthquakes. Minor earthquakes, minor tremors here. But that's all we are seeing. Nothing major. Nothing major at all. Let me show you something else. Let's take you out to... I want to take you out to... Let's go out to Barstow. This is Barstow, guys. Occasionally getting hit by microquakes. This is San Andreas Fault. Yes, folks. They're going to put Barstow out here. And he's going to soak in the sun out here. And he'll tell us when we have earthquakes out here. Yep. They're going to have some quakes. Those are all just tremors, folks, so far. So far. Then we have let's see. I don't have San Bernardino here. Darn it. I have Fontana. This is Fontana yesterday. Here you're seeing some earthquakes too. Up at the top. 2.0 earthquakes. The rest of these are probably just minor tremors except for 2 or 3. Yes, we have 2 or 3 that we consider earthquakes. Okay? How about that one over on the bottom left-hand side? Let's start with that one. Okay? If this was up on the top, it would have left for sure. It would have left the paper for sure. This, folks, looks like a 2.0 a 3.0 magnitude earthquake. Okay? A 3.0. That's a good sized earthquake. There's quite a few of them here. Okay? They're happening. This is Fontana, California. Orange County, California. Does that concern you guys? I would hope it would. I would hope that you guys would be really concerned if you lived out in this area. You have a right to. Let's go take a look at Moore Park. Moore Park has always been busy here. It's very busy. Look at the tremors all over this map. And then at the bottom right-hand side, let's take a look at a 3.4, 3.5 magnitude earthquake that hit Moore Park today. Okay? This afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, look what hit here this afternoon. And this, folks, was just before 3 p.m. This is 2:47 p.m. this afternoon. And it was still shaking at 2:48. Nearly 45 minutes of shaking. This was felt. Yeah, you might feel a 2.5. You're probably going to feel a 3.0. You definitely felt this one. That is a big quake. Bigger than we've seen here in a while. Soon you guys are going to see 4.0 moderate quakes. And then you're going to ask me what the heck happened. This was today. Would you like to see yesterday's earthquake there? Do you think you want to see that earthquake yesterday? How many think you'd like to see what happened here yesterday? Okay? Good old Moore Park. Let's take a look at it yesterday. Right here. Look at these tremors. Look at these tremors. Sometimes we got to 1.7 tremors. 1.5s, 1.6s. Today we had a full-blown earthquake in Moore Park this afternoon. We have 103 likes, guys. 103 thumbs up. That's awesome. Can we see 110? Lord Marie says, oil drilling here? No. This has nothing to do with oil drilling. These are earthquakes over here in this area. Full-blown earthquakes over here. Just north of downtown Los Angeles. Tommy Jake says something's going on with the sub thing. You can sub. You can sub. People are doing it all the time, but yes, YouTube screws things up. I know for a fact they've done it. I've seen it. Rob52 says, been to Barstow, you can keep it. It's hotter than blazes in Barstow. Hotter than blazes in Bakersfield. I bet it's hot over in Moore Park today. I will almost bet you got into the 80s today there in Los Angeles. Okay? This is all earthquakes. All this is earthquakes, guys. Okay? How about Rio Hondo? Let's go over to Rio Hondo today. Look at this. Don't you just love Rio Hondo, guys? Tremors all over here. Tremors everywhere. Look at that. Constant tremor activity. 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. Constant. And these are just tremors. Nobody's going to feel this. Okay? Let's go over to Rinaldi. Let me pull up Rinaldi here. Look at this. These are just small compared to over there in Moore Park and Rio Hondo. This is Rinaldi. These are just tiny tremors here. Constant tremor activity, didn't let up at all. It kept going. That's how it is. Los Angeles is moving, guys. Los Angeles is moving in a big way. How about North Hollywood today? There was nothing going on in North Hollywood 2 weeks ago. You could hardly see anything going on 2 weeks ago, which tells me that they've altered the seismograph. They've messed with the seismograph. But here we see a bunch of tremors. A bunch of tremors literally all day long. North Hollywood. Okay? Now, before we go any further east, I want to show you Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey area. Look at this. Look at all these tremors here. Then look at the bottom line here, the bottom black line here. Okay? This is 2 p.m. today. These are harmonic tremors, the rat-a-tat-tat type earthquakes. These are harmonic tremors. Does this mean there may be some volcanism happening here? It could be. Folks, this is along the shoreline northeast Los Angeles. Playa del Rey and Marina del Rey area. Okay? It was fairly quiet for the first 2 or 3 hours. Then it got very busy with tremors, literally all day long. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, we have some harmonic tremors. I wonder why. Me wonders why. Why? This is a volcano in Walnut La Puente area. This is a volcano. We've seen these same kind of signatures at Bombay Beach. We used to see these signatures at Mount Shasta until they started not letting us see it. The seismologists up at the volcano at Mount Shasta have turned the seismographs off. We're not seeing this anymore. You used to see this at seismograph LOB at Mount Shasta, but they've turned it off. This is what we're seeing over in Los Angeles. Walnut La Puente area. Yes, these are volcanoes. Volcano causes this. But folks, these are earthquakes caused by molten magma beneath the surface of the earth. You can see it. Look at that. Literally all day long. And up at the top right-hand side, you can see where the agency cut off the top of that seismic signature. Yes, they don't want us to see what is going on here. But you see there's earthquakes here. 3.0, 3.5 felt earthquakes. Felt earthquakes here, guys. Look at the bottom center here, on the bottom green line here. That is at least a 2.5 earthquake. And look how thick it is. That means that earthquake did not just last a second or two. It lasted a period of time. That earthquake was probably stronger than just a 2.5. But that's what it looks like, a 2.5. The seismic signatures at the bottom and the black on the right hand side, it's all over the place. The seismograph was having a hard time addressing it. That's big earthquake activity, guys. Okay? Los Angeles is moving in a big way. Let's go south. I want to go south into Imperial County. I want to go over and take a look at El Centro Naval Air Station. Okay? This is southeast of the Salton Sea. El Centro Naval Air Station. My friend Laura Marie knows where this is. Look at these earthquakes, guys. Yes, there's a bunch of tremors that are ongoing here, but there's also a ton of earthquakes here. It would not surprise me that we have 25 to 30 earthquakes here on this one seismogram. This is an awful lot of shaking for El Centro Naval Air Station. Okay? And it's not the only place it's shaking down there in the Imperial Valley. There's a lot more here. Oh, there's a heck of a lot more. Just east of El Centro, we have Westmoreland. Look at this. These are nothing but tremors. Westmoreland got hit pretty good here today, didn't it? Nothing but tremors here. Let's drop down to the town of Imperial in Imperial Valley. Let's see here. There's the town of Imperial, guys. Look at this. Constant tremor activity, and look at that second black line here. Second from the top. That is a lot of 2.0 earthquakes and tremors between them. Okay, that's a lot of earthquake activity. And you can see the smaller tremors continuing. You can see the smaller tremors continuing. And down at the bottom, you can see the green lines. Every once in a while on the green line at the bottom, you'll see a 2.0 earthquake. The black line on the bottom, okay? The black line at the bottom is 3 p.m. On the left side, we see a lot of tremors, don't we? Then we have one kick out. Probably 1.5 tremor there. The tremors continue, but this one gets larger. At about 3:05 this afternoon on this bottom line. we have a 2.0 earthquake. Then it cuts back to nothing but tremor activity. This is Imperial Valley. We've had earthquakes here before. It looks like we're going to get bigger earthquakes here, considering what we're seeing here. It's not done yet, guys. It's not done yet. Let's go over to Bombay Beach, over on the eastern side of the Salton Sea. Good old Bombay Beach. This looks a lot like La Puente and Walnut, California, doesn't it? We have a volcano over in the center of the Salton Sea. But folks, this is where the San Andreas Fault is, on the eastern side of the Salton Sea, right before it goes underneath the Salton Sea. This is the San Andreas Fault at Bombay Beach. Look at these earthquakes. Almost every one of them are cut off. Okay? They're cut off, the bottoms and the tops. 3.0, 3.5, 4.0 earthquake? Probably. The other earthquakes? 2.8, 2.9, 3.0s. Literally all day long. This kind of activity happened yesterday afternoon as well. Not yesterday afternoon, all day yesterday as well. Okay? Literally all day yesterday. Let me show you the seismogram from yesterday. I made sure we could show it to you. Because otherwise you'd look at me going, what happened there? This is yesterday. This is yesterday. Look at this. You can see here what I'm talking about here. Okay. Does anybody see anything wrong with this? Folks, we're having some earthquakes here. This is Southern California. I've shown you some earthquakes like this over in Walnut La Puente area. I've shown you seismic energy going over into Long Beach. Two different seismograms saying basically the same thing, calling out earthquakes right and left. I've shown you earthquakes all over Southern California tonight, out into the desert as well. Rancho Mirage is also just as active. That's further that's further out from the San Andreas Fault. That whole area is shaking as well. Folks, Southern California is up right now for a possible earthquake. It's going to happen. It's literally going to happen. Look at this. This is Calipatria. This is over on the southeast side of the Salton Sea. Look at all these earthquakes until they turn the seismograph off. Okay? 35 to 40 earthquakes before they turn the seismograph off. This one over here on the left-hand side. Okay? This was last night. This one is at 9:46 p.m. last night. A 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. And you can see tremors and small quakes there. Guess what? Look at all this time that they turned the seismograph off. They turn it off from 11:30 p.m., actually before 11:30 p.m. last night. Before 11:30 p.m. last night. They kept it off until 8 a.m. this morning. Why? Why did they turn it off for 8.5 hours? Why did they turn the seismograph off for 8 hours? You're seeing some good-sized earthquakes here, aren't we? Absolutely we are. There's easily 100 earthquakes here. Easy. Look at these earthquakes up on the top right. 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes right there. And I'm only looking at the ones in red here. I'm not even looking at the blue ones. The red ones are outlined by the computer. The seismogram is telling the computer mark it so scientists will see it. Look what we're seeing here. 2.3, 2.5 earthquakes all day long. Okay? This is the Imperial Valley, guys. There's another 50 plus earthquakes right here. Earthquakes and tremors right here. 25 of them before 11:30 last night. And then they turn it off. Why am I showing this to you? Folks, we just got through having two 6.4s and two 6.6s down in the mouth of the Gulf of California. That's seismic energies coming up here. You guys are going to soon see a very strong 6.5 to a 7.0 magnitude earthquake incoming soon. Incoming soon. Are you ready for earthquake, Southern California? Those of you that are living here, are you ready to have your lives shifted and torn apart by an earthquake? And then the politicians telling you what you can and what you can't do? Oh, you better not drink any water. You better boil water. Do you have a water supply you already have? Do you have safe water to drink? Only to use the filtered water from the government for washing clothes and flushing toilets. Okay? Do you have water? Do you have food? You can't live very long without water. You can't live very long without food. Do you have a shelter to be in? Is your house going to be okay, or is it going to fall apart? Or is it already falling apart? Do you have a plan? Have you written a plan on where you're going to go if you have to bug out? Do you have to bug out? If you don't have a plan, it's only a wish. And even then, if you wait till the last minute to do this, you're going to forget very valuable things that you might not otherwise had to think about, because you would have already done them. Medicines. Having medicines. Being physical and agility enough to walk a mile. That might seem hard for a lot of people, but it's very realistic. you might have to walk a lot further than a mile. Folks, I'm telling you, the quakes are coming. The wildfires are coming. The Santa Ana winds are going to be pushing those wildfires as well. Are you ready? We're having heavy duty flooding and raining right now. I went and checked the river just east of me. It's there. It's not flowing over its banks because its banks are very high. I'm going to do some more investigating in the days to come. Gas prices are going through the roof. Have you saved any money for gas? Have you got a cache of money that you saved and are not touching for anything until a disaster happens? Do you have your medications all together? Do you have your family records there that you can put your finger on them and put them in your emergency supply kit? You're going to want those. Do you have photographs and such? Make sure you have those on your cell phone and take pictures of them and save them, because otherwise you might not have them. Folks, an earthquake's coming. A big one. Fires and flooding are coming. Tornado happened in Texas. Tornadoes happen in California, in Washington, Oregon, in Idaho, in Colorado, Oklahoma. It used to be that North Dakota, South Dakota, and Oklahoma had tornadoes, and that was just about all. Now they're all over the place. Tornadoes all over. Missouri. Folks, are you ready? That's all I want to ask you. Are you ready for what's going on? I've been pointing out a lot of information lately. That's because I want you to be ready. Does anybody have any questions for me? Does anybody have any questions for Ron Man? Because I want you to be ready in the worst way. I want you to be able to save your souls and save your families. Are you ready for it? Are you ready? Folks, I'm dead serious. If you have not prepared, you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost. Folks, I pray that you will share this program with everybody that you see. Your family members, your extended family members, everybody, your friends, your neighbors, the people you associate at work with, and your social media contacts. Share this program with everybody. It will find value to a lot of people. Folks, I wanted to share something with you tonight. This comes from Matthew, the 28th chapter, verse 19. This is something that I felt was very important in my life, so I'm sharing it with you. Matthew 28, chapter 28, verse 19. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Verse 20. Teaching them to observe all things, whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. Are we doing the things that the Lord has asked us to do? Go ye forth into all the world, teaching the gospel. Have you talked to one of your friends today? If not, this might be a good opportunity. And share this program with them. Folks, it's getting late. I don't want to go on any longer. I just want you to know how much I love you. I want to make sure you are ready for what's happening. I fear that there are not a lot of people that are prepared. I fear that there are a ton of people out there that are not prepared, that nobody's been listening. I hope I'm wrong. Folks, this is a channel of earthquakes and emergencies, all kinds of emergencies. This is also a preparedness channel. We've talked about this. May God be with you this day and always. May God be with you until we meet again. That's my humble prayer to each one of us. God be with you until we meet again. Have a good night, folks. I love you so very much. Take care, everybody. Love each other. God be with you till we meet again. Good night, everybody.